There are seasons in life that don't announce themselves. They don't arrive with fireworks or collapse. They come quietly, almost politely, like a scent passing through the air before you realize what it is. You don't hear them coming. You feel them later. That is how lilacs exist in the world. Lilacs don't bloom to dominate a garden. They don't last long. They don't beg to be photographed endlessly the way roses do. And yet, once you've stood near one, once you've breathed it in, you carry it with you. Even years later, the memory can return suddenly without permission, and you're back there again. Still, aware, changed. Life, I've learned, behaves the same way. For a long time, I believed life was supposed to be dramatic to be meaningful. I thought growth would feel obvious, loud. That I would know when I was becoming someone better, someone wiser, someone closer to who I was meant to be. I expected clarity to arrive like a final answer, sharp, confident, undeniable, but life didn't agree with my expectations. Instead, it moved like a lilac season, brief, subtle, and easily overlooked if you were too busy waiting for something bigger. There were days when nothing terrible happened, and nothing extraordinary either. Days that felt almost empty. Quiet mornings, ordinary walks, long pauses where nothing seemed to move forward. I used to fear those moments. I thought stillness meant stagnation. I thought silence meant failure. I thought if life wasn't loud, it wasn't working. But lilacs are never loud, and yet they bloom anyway. What lilacs taught me, what life slowly insisted I understand, is that meaning does not always announce itself. Sometimes it whispers. Sometimes it passes through you before you realize you were standing in the middle of it. There were moments when I felt disconnected from both sadness and happiness. Not broken, just neutral. Awake, but not excited. Alive, but not inspired. I judged myself harshly for those moments. I thought something was wrong with me for not feeling more. But neutrality is not emptiness. Stillness is not absence. Quiet is not a lack of life. A lilac does not apologize for being gentle. Life doesn't either. Some of the most honest moments of living happen when nothing is demanding your attention. When you are walking without urgency, listening without searching, existing without performing. Those moments rarely make stories people applaud, but they shape you in ways that applause never could. I've noticed that life often teaches its most important lessons when you are not ready to learn them. Not during victories, not during collapses. But during ordinary days when your guard is down and your expectations are low. You learn patience not when things go wrong, but when they simply take longer than you hoped. You learn humility not through failure, but through realizing how little control you actually have. You learn gratitude not when everything is perfect, but when you notice how much is quietly holding you together. Lilacs bloom briefly. They don't linger, and that is exactly why they matter. Life, too, does not stay in one form long enough for us to fully understand it while we're inside it. Meaning is often revealed only in hindsight. By the time you realize something mattered, it has already passed. The season is over. The scent is gone. All that remains is the imprint. And that imprint changes how you move forward. I used to chase intensity. I wanted life to feel important all the time. I thought if I wasn't overwhelmed, inspired, or deeply emotional, then I wasn't living fully. But intensity burns fast. Loud moments fade. Highs exhaust. Even happiness, when forced to perform constantly, becomes fragile. Lilacs do not exhaust themselves trying to be unforgettable. They simply are. Life does not ask you to feel everything at once. It asks you to notice. Notice the way time slows when you stop resisting it. Notice the strength it takes to keep going quietly. Notice how growth often feels boring before it feels meaningful. Notice how you are changing even when you think you are standing still. There is a kind of wisdom that only comes from being present in the in-between. Not the beginning, not the ending, the middle, the waiting, the living without resolution part. That is where lilac life happens. Not sad, not happy, not loud, not silent, just real. And real life is rarely cinematic. It is repetitive, uneven, sometimes confusing, sometimes peaceful, sometimes both at the same time. It contains contradictions that don't need to be resolved to be true. You can be grateful and dissatisfied. You can be strong and tired. You can love life and still question it. Lilacs do not bloom forever, and neither do we stay the same. Every season you survive, every quiet chapter you endure, leaves something behind. A deeper patience, a sharper awareness, a softer understanding of others, a quieter confidence in yourself. And one day, without warning, you will smell a metaphorical lilac again. A moment will stop you, not because it's dramatic, but because it feels familiar, grounded, honest. And you will realize that life has been shaping you all along, even when you thought nothing was happening. That realization does not come with applause. It comes with peace. Life is not a constant rise. It is a series of blooms and absences, of presence and fading, of moments that matter precisely because they do not last. So if you are in a season that feels small, quiet, or unremarkable, do not rush through it. You may be standing in the middle of something meaningful without knowing it yet. Lilacs never ask you to remember them, but you do. And life, when it is like a lilac, teaches you this final truth. Not everything meaningful is loud. Not everything important stays. And not everything that shapes you announces its arrival. Some things simply pass through and leave you changed forever.